Okay, let's unpack this. WrestleMania 41, Night 1. Naomi versus Jade Cargill.
Yeah,
Forget your typical grudge match. This felt like a force of nature colliding with just pure determination.
absolutely former allies, right?
Yeah.
And now torn apart by, well, what commentators were calling envy and betrayal.
Exactly. It set up Cargill looking for some serious payback after getting attacked, blindsided, really.
While Naomi's trying to, prove herself with this new, much edgier persona after that heel turn.
What's fascinating right from the start is that this wasn't just like a random match thrown together.
No, not at all. The bad blood was palpable. You could feel it.
Yeah.
And they really hammered that home in the pre-match commentary and the video packages.
Gave the whole thing a deeper emotional weight, didn't it?
Definitely.
So let's rewind just a bit. What sparked this whole thing between them? The audio commentary and those video packages really laid it out.
It all traces back to Naomi's heel turn. That shift from being a fan favorite to, well, the villain.
And the attack on Cargill that followed.
Ambushed, hit from behind, thrown onto a car.
Hmm.
That's personal.
Very physical, yeah. And then seeing Naomi running away, that image really cements the betrayal from Cargill's point of view.
Totally. And the commentators, they were even speculating about Naomi's reasons for turning heel.
Sounded like insecurity was a big factor, maybe feeling overshadowed, like the third wheel in that old alliance.
Possibly that. And maybe wanting those tag titles for herself. It paints a picture of a character needing recognition, wanting that spotlight.
And just for anyone less familiar, a heel turn is basically when a wrestler goes from being the good guy, the face, to being the bad guy, the heel.
Right. And it's interesting because, wrestling storylines often tap into those very human things.
Yeah.
Jealousy, ambition, feeling overlooked adds layers.
It does. It makes it more than just athletics. Then we get to the entrances, which were, well, they weren't standard, were they?
Not at all.
Mm.
Naomi's especially felt really symbolic, ripping through that banner.
It was written on it, caution tape and things like that.
Yeah, too nice, third wheel, underappreciated, proceed with caution. Stuff like that. It was a very visual way of saying, I'm shedding that old skin.
Embracing the new aggressive identity. Pretty powerful storytelling, actually.
He really was.
And Cargill's entrance, the whole WrestleMania weather report with Jim Cantor.
Yeah, forecasting a storm over Vegas.
Yeah.
It was quite something.
Unexpected, definitely.
But you have to admire the commitment to the spectacle, right? Stormy graphics, Cantor playing it up, taking cover.
It was pure theater. And it immediately told you Cargill's arrival was a big deal. Cole even said on commentary, it will not be pretty.
Set the stage perfectly.
So the bell rings, match starts.
Jade came out like a house on fire.
Absolutely. Straight into a double leg takedown, ground and pound. Just pure aggression right from the bell. She was clearly fired up.
But Naomi didn't just roll over. She fought back pretty quick.
She showed that resilience, yeah. Took the hits, fired back with strikes.
And there were some big power moves from Jade too, right?
Oh, for sure. The press slam off the top rope. Incredible strength. And that big heel throw just launching Naomi across the ring. Real power display.
But Naomi used her speed and, well, maybe some sneakiness. The eye rake.
Yeah. Classic heel move when the ref wasn't looking. And then that draping X Factor on the floor. Nasty looking move using the ropes.
Yeah, that looked like it hurt.
Followed it up with that baseball slide drop kick and then the blockbuster off the ring steps. That was pretty impactful, too.
It felt like the momentum was really swinging back and forth. Lots of counters.
Definitely. Like Naomi dodging the spine buster. That's a big move to avoid.
Mm.
And then Jade catching Naomi out of that flying crossbody attempt and turning it into a fall-away slam showed great timing from both.
And those near falls. Those always get the crowd going.
Oh, yeah. After Naomi hit that head scissors bulldog, then the split leg moonsault. People bought those as finishes.
And later, when Jade hit the jackhammer, same thing. Huge reaction. You thought it might be over then.
Absolutely. Those moments really hook you in. And the actual finish was pretty dramatic, too.
Naomi locked in her submission. The rings of Saturn. Right.
She did, yeah. Looked like she had it cinched in, but Jade just powered out. Incredible strength again. Then lifted Naomi up from a fireman's carry.
Into that rotating powerbomb. That was impressive.
Super impressive. The analyst pointed to that specific move as a real highlight. And then, bam, jaded. That was it. Pinfall victory for Cargill.
Quite the sequence.
Yeah.
So what were the commentators and analysts saying overall, beyond just calling the moves?
Well, there was a lot of talk about the contrast. Jade's raw power and physique versus Naomi's veteran experience, especially at WrestleMania. This was Jade's singles debut on that stage, remember?
Right, the powerhouse newcomer versus the established star taking a new path. Did they critique the match at all?
Some did, yeah. A few analysts felt the pacing was a bit off in places, called out some weird slow spots was the phrase used, I think.
Okay. But the big moments still connected.
Seems like it. They consistently mentioned the crowd reactions to the big moves, the near falls, so even if the flow wasn't perfect, the audience was definitely invested when it counted.
What about individual performances? Any specific praise or criticism?
They talked about Jade's making Naomi's moves look convincing. Some felt maybe that could be developed a bit more. On the flip side, Naomi got a lot of props for her heel work, really committing to that new persona.
Yeah, sounds like she embraced being the bad guy. Was there any debate about the result? Like, should Naomi have won?
Yeah, there was some discussion. First big match as a heel, maybe a win would have cemented that turn more strongly from a story perspective.
Makes sense.
But the general feeling seemed to be that Jade winning felt like the right payoff for the story they'd built. The revenge angle needed that resolution.
Right, the betrayal narrative kind of demanded it. So
Yeah.
where do they go from here? Any speculation from the experts?
Definitely. Talk about what's next for both of them. Bianca Belair's name came up as someone who might get involved down the line, potentially with Jade. This match was seen as setting up future directions for both women.
Always looking ahead in WWE.
So that's the match, as told by the broadcast. But now, let's bring in this other perspective. Dave Meltzer's review.
Ah, yes. The star ratings.
2 stars, which
Yeah.
is, well, it's quite a bit different from the commentary's excitement.
A very different assessment, yeah. It's always interesting to get that more critical breakdown focused purely on the in-ring stuff.
He basically said it wasn't very exciting. Acknowledged Cargill's power moves looked good, well executed.
Okay, so he gave her that.
But then he called her very tentative and sloppy. That's pretty blunt.
Tentative and sloppy.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's looking at maybe the timing, the transitions between moves. Maybe things didn't look quite as smooth or impactful to his eye.
Could be footwork, positioning,
Yeah.
maybe moments that just looked a bit awkward. Things a more critical analysis picks up.
Right, the little things that can break the flow for someone watching that closely.
He also made a really interesting point, said that Cargill isn't seen as this, gigantic novelty anymore.
Ah, the novelty wearing off idea.
Yeah. And because of that, her weaknesses are maybe becoming more obvious. It's fascinating how that perception changes, right?
It really is. When someone bursts onto the scene with that size and power, it can mask other things, but as they stick around, face more varied opponents.
People start looking closer at the technique.
Exactly. The fundamentals become more important. Can they sustain it beyond just the initial wow factor?
He even pointed out specific moments. A missed dropkick from Naomi that Cargill apparently sold anyway.
Ooh, okay. That can definitely pull you out of it if you notice.
And Cargill struggling a bit, apparently, lifting Naomi for that final jaded power bomb.
Right. So maybe suggesting fatigue or just not quite having the technique perfectly nailed down on that big move under pressure. Details a casual fan might miss, but Meltzer's looking for that stuff.
It's just such a night and day difference from the commentary calling it a star-making moment for Cargill.
Outer worldly athleticism, I think you said.
Yeah. It just shows how subjective this all can be, doesn't it?
Totally. Commentary's there to sell the story, the emotion, build the stars for the live audience. A critic like Meltzer is evaluating it on a different scale, more technically focused. Both valid perspectives, just different goals.
The commentary was definitely pushing the character arcs, too.
Yeah.
Naomi growing in confidence despite the loss, Cargill's huge potential.
Guiding the narrative, telling you where these characters are going, investing you in their journeys. Okay, so after the match wrapped up, what else was going on? Big WrestleMania weekend, always lots happening.
For sure. Right after they aired an ad for the Fatal Fury game and also plugged SummerSlam later in the year, featuring Cardi B as host. That was the big announcement.
Keep the hype train rolling. Any celebrity sightings, it's always part of the Mania spectacle.
Oh, yeah. They showed Lily Singh, Lil Yachty in the crowd. Adds to that big event feel,
Absolutely.